Guys, this is crazy. The iPhone 15 design has leaked way earlier than it normally does. We have full images of what it's going to look like, all of the changes Apple is making, and it confirms so many rumors that we've been hearing about the device for months now. These are coming courtesy of our friends over at 9to5Mac, who have officially obtained the CAD files for the new design for 2023. Now, just for some context, the CAD file is not the full-on, extensive, rendered out design in exactly how it's going to look. This is just going to be the rough look at the new edges, the camera bump, the ports, the general design of the phone. So I'm reacting to this essentially in real time. These just dropped moments ago, and this image right here, which again is from 9to5Mac, it shows the new camera bump. My brother in Christ, Apple, what are we doing here? Why is the camera bump just actually half the size of the phone now? I keep looking at this image, I keep blinking, I take off the glasses, I put the glasses back on, and I feel like it only gets bigger every time. And non-YouTuber me wants to tell you that this is some kind of a joke or that this is off, but I don't think it's going to be, especially with the rumors of the periscope zoom lens coming. That's a whole new technology. It takes up a significant amount of space to get that 10 to 50x optical zoom that's rumored to be coming. But man, how is this going to even sit on a table? Like, this is the wobble now. It's already pretty bad. This is just essentially an interchangeable lens system like a DSLR that we've got on here. And I mean, I think I'm here for it if it means better image quality, but holy man. The actual structure though looks to be the same. 3 lenses, flash, microphone below, and then the LiDAR sensor doesn't show up, but that's because it is flush with the lens, so that's why it's not showing. The LiDAR sensor is absolutely staying this year. Man, I'm so focused on the camera bump, we haven't even talked about the new design language that Apple is using on the iPhone 15, because it's going to look quite a bit different than the edges on the iPhone 14, 13, or 12. Taking a look at the edges of the iPhone 15 Pro here, they are no longer completely flat. There is a subtle round to them that essentially looks like a combination of the iPhone 10 and iPhone 12 design language, which matches what the rumors have been saying for a couple of months now. Now, taking a closer look at this, I have to say it is nowhere near as dramatic as I thought. In fact, looking at it side by side with something like the iPhone 14 Pro, you can't really see that much of a difference. I think the most impact is probably going to be the feel in the hand, because that's where the 14 design doesn't hold up the best for me. Like, aesthetically, I love the flat edges, but it definitely cuts into my fingers a little bit, and I like it, but I'm excited to feel, well, how the 15 feels, because it looks a little bit more comfortable. Wait, the more I look at this, the more it reminds me about the curvature on the MacBook Pros. I don't think it's going to focus super well here because my lens is weird, but you see how it's not super dramatic, but it still makes an impact? Like, the feel in the hand of this is way better than jagged edges, and this similar rounded design, probably more closer to the top than the bottom, I think that's going to look pretty good. Next up, we have to talk about the buttons. I am so f***ed up about these. I don't know what's going on, because we knew that there were going to be touch capacitive, that Apple was getting rid of the physical buttons and doing something totally different in the Apple way. And we get a look at these for the first time ever in these CAD files, and they are completely different than what anyone would have ever guessed. They don't actually stick out of the phone. They are recessed into the phone, and it's a longer rounded rectangle with some dots on the inside, including the mute switch, which is also now recessed and doesn't have a physical switch anymore. That's been the one thing that everybody has universally loved, and it looks like Apple is going to tweak the mute switch to be capacitive like the iPhone 8 or iPhone 7 home button too. And because of this, I don't have any context for how these will work. It's not just the volume buttons and the mute switch, it's the power button or lock button too that has the same capacitive looking design, and I am thrown off by this. You can see there is the SIM tray below that even further, and it looks like the SIM tray will be sticking around, at least on international models, as it did on the 14 globally. And that's the biggest problem with CAD files, is they only give you a taste of what the design is going to be. When Apple has this painted and they actually have texture on here, it's going to look completely different than it does now. Just for an example, the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro, when that got leaked, remember we thought it was going to be an eye design because that only showed us the hardware that was there, not what Apple was going to do and make it the singular unified design through software. So maybe it's something similar with the buttons here. Maybe these are lights on the inside. Maybe there's different grips Apple's going to put on here. Yeah, it's hard to tell. but it looks a little sus right now. Actually, speaking of the dynamic island, we haven't looked at the displays yet, which do include the dynamic island. Yet again, it looks to be identical in size, but are you guys seeing the bezels around the edge here? This is absolutely cracked. This isn't just a small reduction in bezels, this is almost bezel-less. If you look at this compared to the 14 Pro, that is essentially a 50% reduction in bezel size, which means that we will actually get slightly more screen real estate. Maybe it'll be like a 6.15 inch display, because with more screen and less bezel, you're gonna get a slightly larger screen size. And it's one thing to see it side by side, but just holding it in your hand, I mean, the bezels on the 14 Pro right now are unbelievably thin. I cannot imagine what it's gonna look like when it's 50% less bezel. I mean, the bezels are already insane. That's a pretty big change. I'm actually really impressed by that. Now listen, there is one thing that I've saved for the end of this video because I've been so scared to look, and I have not checked if this has Lightning or USB-C. So I'm gonna scroll down in the article, and it looks like this has USB-C. Oh, bro. I was so nervous because I want USB-C. Okay, so it has USB-C. Oh, I got so scared because it looked like for a second it was Lightning. No, it says this CAD file confirms Lightning. Oh my God. Like, we've been talking about rumors, right? And it's, Apple themselves said it, but to see it on the leaked CAD file, like, okay, USB-C is actually happening. Now, last thing I want to say, is this 100% authentic? Could anything change? Yes, absolutely. It's possible this CAD file could be old or a little bit outdated. This is not the final design, but it is absolutely the general design. And I think most of this is probably pretty spot on. This is apparently from a case manufacturer, which are known to poke around and get their hands on the iPhone designs quite early so that they can start designing their cases around the changes every single year. So I think this is authentic. 9to5Mac has a very good track record, and I don't think that this would have been shared if it was inaccurate. Okay, so those are all the details, right? There are some things that I really like about this, but man, the overarching design changes, the new era of the iPhone that will last us the next 3 years, man, it kind of be looking like the iPhone 14. I'm just gonna say it. I know I'm supposed to wait until we get more concrete images, but the structure, which is what this shows better than anything, is that the edges are slightly curved. But at the end of the day, man, that looks pretty similar to me like an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 13 or an iPhone 14, which is a fine design. But I miss the days of going from the iPhone 4S to the 5, where it was a completely different looking phone, or the 5S to the 6, where Apple fundamentally rethought what the phone was, and there were these massive design changes. Even the iPhone 10 just felt like something totally different. And the 15 is improving upon this in some nice ways, in some ways dramatic, in some ways really slight. I'm gonna wait for my final judgment, obviously, until these phones come out, but as we continue to see more renders. For a super cycle year, for waiting 3 years for a revamped chassis, I don't know. It's nice, it's better, it's just so similar. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on all this below. Crazy, so much information, more to come. I've been Sam. Thank you guys for watching. So excited for this phone still, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, I'm all over the place, but we saw the iPhone 15 today. That's cool.